Bear down, Bears fans. It's been a struggle this week, and we've not really seen the progress that we've been looking for out of this team so far. But this is a must win game on Sunday, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, and you know what? Let's save that for just a few moments. If you like this type of content, make sure that you hit the like button on the way in. We are talking Chicago Bears, and we're gonna have a sponsor for the channel on Monday, so it certainly would be nice if you guys support them. I'm not sure how you guys are about investment in your portfolios, but this is going to be one of the investment contracts that we might want to at least consider. Anyway, the Chicago Bears are in need of a spur, an impetus, something that will cause this team to just feel a little bit better. So, what is that going to be? And I think the answer to that is the Indianapolis Colts. So, let's kick it off. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can figure out what is going on. First of all, before we get started, John Jackson III, best friend of Caleb Williams, has been re-signed by the Chicago Bears and is now on the practice squad. Jamry Chroma has been claimed by the New England Patriots. Therefore, John Jackson III has been brought back. So, there were some more moves, and one of the other moves is Deshaun Mallory. Now, you remember him. He had a couple tackles for loss in the preseason. Is a big guy from Michigan State, another of the undrafted free agents. And Deshaun Mallory, it kind of takes Jamry Chroma's place. And there you have it. That's what our scout team is looking like right now. And by the way, it should be noted that as we try to adapt and work our way through this offensive line struggle in the first part of the season, that Jake Curran still sits over there on the practice squad. So there are some options. By the way, I am not saying this is the answer. Jake Curran is certainly not the answer to the offensive line woes. It comes from these guys doing their jobs. And look, they're all NFL players. They all know what the expectations are. They know what it is that they need to do. Coleman Shelton getting pushed around a little bit. Nate Davis mailing it in, if you want. I think this improves. I think they're going to stick with it. They're going to see if they can't get this thing to gel before they get hasty and start making any sort of rash moves. And look, you might not like that, but this is the moment where you can make something like that happen because you're taking on one of the absolute worst defenses. Now, before we get into that, the injury report is out, and the injury report shows that we've got Keenan Allen, who still has not practiced this week, Kari Blasingame, who has still not practiced, not getting a lot of use out of Kari Blasingame at this point, but did not practice. So I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. Tevin Jenkins was limited in practice. Zach Pickens did not play. Mercedes Lewis did not practice. Kirana Magaji is fully engaged now, and he's fully back in practice. But Andrew Billings, Nate Davis, Travis Homer, Roma Dunze, Montez Sweat, and DeMarcus Walker were all limited in practice on Thursday. When we get the Friday report and see what it looks like, I would tend to think that we probably see a little bit more. We'll see some limited practice from some of these guys. We'll see full practice from some of these guys trying to get ready for this game. And look, I do want to state this is the most important game of the season for the Chicago Bears. That's no secret. It's the next game. So it should be the only important game going into this right now. But the issues are, and they are several, the issues concerning the Chicago Bears at this point are getting the offense off the blocks and getting them to start moving. Now, a lot of analysts, Kurt Warner, Chase Daniel, a lot of these guys are coming out openly saying, look, the problem with this team is not currently Caleb Williams, that he's going through rookie growing pains and he will make mistakes. One of the statements that Caleb made was, look, I threw 2 interceptions on plays that I know I shouldn't have made, and I will never make those mistakes again. Does that mean that he will or won't? No, it means that he recognizes the errors and that he's working to make corrections. And if we at least have that awareness, that situational awareness, if you will, then I think it's a great sign for his ability to mature and grow like we would need him to grow going forward. So I like the fact that we're hearing that out of him. I think that that's a really good acknowledgement from him, and I hope that this is the start of, let's say, we're turning that corner. Look, I think that there's a lot of there's a lot of underlying frustration within this team. They're not turning on anybody. They're not turning on the coaches, but they recognize that they're going to have to do better. Now, let me just say, we're 1-1 right now with 6 straight winnable games. This lineup can win this game. They can take it home. This is going to be a breakout game. I'm calling it right now, by the way. This is going to be a breakout game for the Chicago Bears. Will it turn everything around? I don't know that that's the case. I think that this is a work in progress. The one thing that we always have to remember is that Caleb Williams is a rookie, will make rookie mistakes. Rome Odunze, we saw him miss a touchdown. This would have been the first touchdown of any quarterback drafted in the first round. At this point, Jaden Daniels, no touchdowns. Caleb Williams, no touchdowns. Who's the other one? Michael Penix, no touchdowns. Who's the other kid? The one from Michigan, McCarthy. None of these. Nobody has any touchdowns at this point, and we're going into the third game of the season. So I think that this is the one that Caleb Williams starts to really get off and have a really good game. Like, I think this is the spot where the defense of the Indianapolis Colts, not good so far. Okay, so let's look at a little bit of that as we get into it. So Chicago and Indianapolis gonna go at it. By the way, this reminds me of a moment in time. I'll tell you a quick story. My Bo Nix, no touchdown. I'm pretty sure at this point there are no touchdowns of anybody drafted in the first round. Was Bo Nix drafted in the first round? I thought he was on the second or something. I don't think it qualifies. There's no first round touchdowns so far, unless he got one last night or Monday Night Football, something like that. But I've been listening to it the whole time, and nobody said there's any touchdowns by any first round draft pick so far. So, but let's break this. I thought so. I thought he was 15th. That could be. Anyway, the point is, this reminds me of a trip down memory lane. Look, I'm a Peyton Manning fan. I've always been a Peyton Manning fan. I like the way that he played football. I liked his command. I liked his presence. So in 2007, the last time the Chicago Bears went to the Super Bowl, you know, my wife was really into the Chicago Bears. I was too, but rooting for Peyton Manning. I really wanted to see Peyton Manning finally win a Super Bowl game. I thought that would validate his career, especially because of the pressure that he was experiencing. Maybe not internally, or maybe not even he was experiencing, but the fact that Tom Brady was, crushing Super Bowls and there was a conversation about who's the GOAT, stuff like that. I thought it was important for Peyton to win a Super Bowl. And so I was rooting for the guy. So now this reminds me of that time where it is time for the Chicago Bears to come over here and just stomp a mud hole in these guys and walk it dry. I think Stone Cold used to say, whatever the phrase was. But it reminds me of that time when, we really needed to perform. And what do we get? Good Rex and bad Rex and Kyle Orton. If you remember, I think we had a picture yesterday of Olin Kreutz protecting Kyle Orton. But let's move on here. Caleb Williams, I think, is the guy who's going to get off to the best start. I think we're finally going to see some development out of Caleb Williams in a way that we have yet to see so far. And I want to say that part of the reason for this is because this is the moment where we finally got a defense that's just, look, the Texans defense and the Titans defense have been suffocating. Going into the first season, the Titans defense was considered one of the strongest. The Texans defense was considered one of the strongest front lines, not overall defenses, but front lines in all of football. So these were two tough tasks, and we escaped 1-1. Now, when I say escaped 1-1, a lot of people, I gave the Chicago Bears the credit for being able to win this first game and this second game. It just didn't happen. The offense is going to have to do a better job, first of all. We know that. But I really thought that the defense would at least keep us into these games to give us an opportunity to win. And I don't think that this is the same team as it was last year where we let these close games slip away. Well, we let one of these close games slip away, which means that this team now owes me. You hear that? You owe me, Caleb. Now you guys owe me a victory. I want to see some real performance out of you guys. You're gonna have to sweep Green Bay to get back to 13-4. I called it. I'm not going to take. I'm not taking my foot off the gas here, by the way. So get it together, you guys. 13-4. That's the move. So what is it going to look like? Well, Caleb Williams is going to have to get off and really get going. And I think that this is the game where it happens. And the reason for that, and by the way, the other guy who's going to have to really get started for this game is going to be DeAndre Swift, because DeAndre Swift has, I want to say, 24 yards on 48 carries so far, which means that he's been getting ample opportunity to run, and he has not found, or he has, I'm sorry, he has 48 yards on 24 carries. Sorry about that. I am losing my mind. But DeAndre Swift going to have to find some openings, right? And the reason that that is important is because of this guy. Because if he doesn't, Khalil Herbert sure as hell will. Khalil Herbert, although not being used very frequently, in favor of Travis Homer, oddly enough. I think that, there's going to be some recognition here that the Bears coaching staff are making a few simple mistakes in their lineup and personnel. And I think they might even be recognizing it, because I heard excuses for some of this already, meaning that Shane Waldron is recognizing, yeah, I might not be making the right decisions on my personnels so far. He recognized early on that he made a mistake by playing so much Gerald Everett and not enough Cole Kmet. So he fixed that in the second week. We saw a little bit more Cole Kmet, and it didn't lead to a victory. I do want to say that didn't lead to a victory, but that victory in the first game came from the defense to begin with. At least we should recognize that that really was the case in that regard. So he's going through some of these, and one of the other ones is, just in case we're not understanding it, there is also this man right here, Roschon Johnson, who is, and look, people are now asking, Shane, what are you doing? Why are you not using Roschon Johnson? What is going on with Khalil Herbert? How are you screwing this up? Travis Homer has 25% of the snaps. Now, Shane Waldron, to his credit, yesterday made a statement, and his statement was, listen, Roschon Johnson has been used on all of the special teams plays so far, and I was just kind of allowing Richard Hightower to go with him in special teams. Use Travis Homer. Like, swap back to Travis Homer. If it's going to cost Roschon Johnson time on the field, for the love of God, if it's going to cost us, we can't run the ball because you're using Travis Homer. Nobody's scared of Travis Homer. Nobody respects Travis Homer as a running back. And Travis, if you're ever watching this, if for any reason you ever watch this, I don't mean any of this. I'm just kidding. But look, Travis Homer's not scaring anybody with his rushing ability, okay? He's not. Roschon Johnson last season was showing out, and he was showing his ability and was running over people. He was hitting holes. He was doing what Khalil Herbert was doing, and both of those guys were performing pretty well. Now, Roschon Johnson should be better in his second year. It makes no sense what's going on. So I'm hoping that we're going to see a little bit of a switcheroo here, and we're going to see a little bit more Roschon Johnson coming into this lineup and getting the ball a little bit more. Now, in the event that those things are going to happen, then let's look at this right here. First of all, the number one, and guys, I want to, part of this has to do, I know, with the offensive struggles, but the number one defense after 2 games right now is the Titans at 206 yards per game. And the number 3 overall are the Texans at 254, with number 2 being the Chargers. Now, the Bears rank number 8 overall. So here's where we are. It might be the fact that we've struggled a little bit offensively to start. However, over 2 games, the Titans have continued to ramp up their defense and have continued to excel, and the Texans as well. Like, we're not we just took on 2 of the, let's call it the 2 of the best, maybe top 8, top 9 defenses by the end of this season. Defensive lines especially. So maybe Is my mic having issues? Guys, I'm working on it. I'm redoing this. Somebody told me the other day, I thought this was a great, by the way, look, I thought this was a great idea, right? I thought it was going to be incredible to put up some bear stuff up here, paint the wall black because I thought, you know what, why not have a black room or something like that? Like that would be kind of cool, right? It was not cool. So I'm working on that. We're going to be changing a whole lot of this stuff around over the next couple days. I just haven't so far, but yeah, man, whatever. And by the way, I put the camera over here so that I can get into this corner here because I had this great idea for this lighting, and I had all kinds of different stuff. I had a Bleeves logo up here that was glowing. Of course, the Bleeves logo. Anyway, working on it. It's a work in progress. So, but the Bears, number 8 overall, despite playing what was really considered to be a decent second-year quarterback in Will Levis and CJ Stroud with the Texans. And look, the Bears held up, and they are a number 8 defense right now. And the Houston Texans are considered to be at least a Super Bowl contender, if not the Titans. So we didn't escape them like I would have hoped we had. But I think we are in a pretty good look. We're in a pretty good position right now, and I think that this is a great sign. Why is this a great sign? Because this right here, the Colts and the Rams, two of our next opponents, are ranked as the absolute worst defenses in the league. And this is going to go, by the way, if we were to look here, I'll grab my schedule here because of course, I put the mic in my way because why? Because Bleeves is an idiot. But so we got the Colts coming up, which is the number 31 ranked defense. Right after that, who do we have next? We have the Rams, who are the number 32 defense. Then who we have? The Panthers. The Panthers are the number 25 defense. Then we have the Jaguars and the Commanders, a little bit better defensively. And then we have the Cardinals, a little bit better defensively. And then we have the Patriots, again, a little bit better defensively. But, still, by the way, they were not up here at the top either. They're kind of middle of the pack. So we're not looking at an elite Panthers defense. We're not looking at an elite Jaguars defense. We're not looking at an elite Commanders defense. We're not looking at an elite Cardinals defense. And they're at the lower end of the spectrum when it comes down to it. So I think that we're going to be in a really good position right now going forward. So the next 2 games is an opportunity for the Chicago Bears to really turn this around. Now, this is what the Colts have looked like so far. They're 18th in passing yards at 208 yards per game. Now, look, the Bears have ranked number, I think it's 12 in both categories, even though they're number 8 defense overall. I think they rank number 12 in both categories for rushing defense and passing defense. So you're going against a middle of the road team here. So I think that the Bears have a distinct advantage defensively. Because if look, CJ Stroud looked the part. He really did look the part. Will Levis, not so much. But we held up very good. We're within a touchdown of taking down the potentially Super Bowl contending Houston Texans with a rookie quarterback. So I want to say that this is going to be a growing opportunity for this team going against a middle of the pack offense and one of the worst defenses in the league. Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor. I think we can stop Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. I don't think they don't scare anybody. I don't think that they do. Are you scared? I'm not scared. I mean, maybe you're scared, but I'm not scared. Although I will say this, Jonathan Taylor, if I remember correctly, he was Wisconsin. Is that Wisconsin? Did he come from Wisconsin? And I really liked what I saw from him in Wisconsin. But I mean, I think he's a little bit older now. I don't know that he's going to be that guy anymore. And Alec Pierce, Ashton Doolin, Michael Pittman. I don't know that these guys are going to set the world on fire. So I feel pretty good about this overall. Now, what doesn't give me hope is that the Bears have the 30th ranked passing offense. And again, I do think that this is the moment we double up Caleb Williams. I really think that this is going to be, I think Caleb Williams comes in with about a 300-yard passing game. This will be his first 300-yard passing game. And then we're going to see some actual rushing yards, not from Travis Hunter or Travis Homer either. DeAndre Swift gonna finally get himself going. We're gonna see Khalil Herbert get the ball. We're gonna see Roshan Johnson get the ball. We're gonna see DJ Moore start to really have. Look, it's gonna take DJ Moore and DeAndre Carter, Roma Dunze having big games, and we're gonna find Cole Kmet in this offense going into this. But look, the real focus here is just is just this: giving Caleb Williams a little protection to let him pick apart this team. And I think that defensively speaking, that's going to be an easy task. Now, the Indianapolis Colts have a really good offensive line, so they're going to be able to give him some protection. But here's the thing. Uh, the Chicago Bears defense has been, at this point, pretty shut down. They've been very, very good, very, very early. Again, against a Super Bowl contender and against at least a middle of the pack sort of team. So I do think that we're going to see the defense step up big time. And by the way, the defense is only going to get better and only going to improve, just like this offense. It will get better. It will improve. Hashtag it gets better, guys. I promise it's going to get better. Now, my prediction here is going to be very simple. I do think this is the breakout game for Caleb Williams. It is my belief that the Caleb Williams that we've seen so far, we know the talent is there. The NFL scouts can see the talent out there. They know that there's some struggles on the line, but this is the game where Caleb Williams starts to put not all of it, but some of it together. Caleb Williams is going to be the MVP of the game. This is going to be not his breakout game. This will not be the breakout. The breakout's going to come later when he has a 400 or 450 yard passing game, and we get into a shootout or something like that. This is not that game. But I think Caleb Williams comes close to 300 yards passing, and that the Bears will finally get. I'm going to predict that Caleb Williams has 3 touchdown passes, and then we have a rushing touchdown, maybe 2 and 2, and then Cairo Santos will get involved with at least a field goal. I think that the goal and the focus right now is don't settle for field goals. Okay, what we're calling in the red zone hasn't been working so far. Let's mix it up. Let's give Caleb Williams the chance that he needs to show how special he can be. So none of us wants to hear that. None of us wants to feel that way. And by the way, what we should say is this: the Colts probably are a decent team. I mean, they're middle of the pack at least offensively. Defensively, they're probably going to look a lot better versus if in any way Chicago struggles on offense, then we're going to be having that conversation and say they don't look as bad. But look, at the end of this, here's what I think. I think that there's no chance. I think at best, Indianapolis scores 13 points, and I'm going to predict 2 interceptions. I'm gonna say that the Bears really, really, really get after these guys. And look, I know a lot of you are nervous, and I know that this is early in the season, but I will say this: if we don't beat Indianapolis, and then if we don't beat the Rams, and if we don't beat the Panthers at least, and move into the 5th game here at a 5-1 sort of record going into our 6th game, which by the way is the week that Ryan Bates comes back. If we can't do that, if we can't beat these very, very weak defensive teams, the Colts, the Rams, the Panthers, if we can't get those guys knocked out, there's no shot at the playoffs, right? So this is a must-win game very early on. Now, you might say to yourself, well, we could just win the division. Sure. But these types of games are the reasons that are these types of games, these types of close games last year are the reason that the Bears didn't make the playoffs and the Packers did make the playoffs. So what we're looking for really here is a paradigm shift. We're going to struggle. We're going to have moments where Caleb Williams looks like a rookie. We're going to have moments where Roma Dunze, the guy that we drafted 9th overall to go up and get those passes, he'll stop dropping those passes that he's dropped so far. We're going to get there, and we're going to get there very soon. this is the opportunity to develop into the team that we hope they're going to be. The Colts defense, the Rams defense, the Panthers defense. These are three defenses that we should absolutely dominate. Now, in the event that we do what I'm saying, then that means that the Bears will suddenly look like that playoff contender. And then we're going to go against the Jags. The Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, look, these guys have been pretty good so far. And this is considered to be a playoff contending team as well. So, mixed in there is the Jaguars. All we have to do is get ourselves prepared in these three games for the Jaguars. And then we've got the Commanders coming up, and it'll be the battle of those first round draft picks playing against one another, which will be a cool thing to see, by the way. It'll be certainly interesting. And then we have the Cardinals, and we'll be able to see Marvin Harrison Jr. in all of his glory. And hopefully we can take all of these guys down. I told you before, the Colts, the Rams, the Panthers, the Jags, the Commanders, the Cardinals, and the Patriots. That are 7 winnable games in a row. This is an 8-1 team going into our game against the Packers. If it's anything less than that, then we would have a problem. Now, that doesn't mean, by the way, that we won't beat the Packers or the Vikings. Doesn't mean that we can't win the division. Doesn't mean anything like that. It means that we need motivation. We need to learn how to win. And I think that with the defense playing the way that it's playing, it's going to be different. This is going to be different. This is a different season. Okay. Imagine this. We were 0-4 going into last season. We're already better than we were last season. Okay. Just numbers to numbers. Despite the fact of the offensive struggles, the defense has not struggled. It's been superb. So I get the sense here that this is the spot here where we start to rip off a few good wins. Now, I'm going to be frustrated just like you if we do not, and if we struggle with the Colts. Even if we get a win, I'm not going to feel good. Okay. If I don't see some real progress in protection, that's what we're looking for, right? We're not really looking. Look, I'm not looking for Caleb Williams to set the world on fire. I think that he will. I think he's going to have a 300-yard passing game, that we're going to start to see the Caleb Williams that we wanted to see. I think that we're going to see that. But I'm also wanting to see that the progression in the offensive line. I want to see Coleman Shelton pick up some blocks and not get run over. I want to see Tevin Jenkins not trip Coleman Shelton. I want to see Nate Davis finally show us that he's a gamer and not I just don't want to practice. I do want to see shore me up here a little bit so that Matt Pryor doesn't come in, because I don't think that Matt Pryor is better than Nate Davis. I just think that Nate Davis, if you're not going to play and you're not going to put in the work and you're not going to be that guy, then you can't make a cohesive offensive line, because you have no idea what he's going to bring to the table on a weekly basis. And look, I'm not saying that he's not trying, but sure shit doesn't look like it to me. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. 31-13, that's what I'm predicting for the Bears Colts this weekend. And I certainly hope that we, walk into what is that stadium called down there again? What is the stadium that that the Bears or that the Colts play in now? I drive by it all the time. Like I drive by it all the time when I go on vacation. What is it? Lucas Oil, because I used to take my kids to drag racing events. There's a Lucas Speedway or something like that. I used to take my kids to the drag races down there. Not those kind of drag races, the actual ones with the cars. So anyway, you guys have a good day. 31-13, Bears over the Colts. Book it, bet on it. And by the way, remember, I am a big time Louisville Cardinals fan. The over under on Louisville is 10.5, and take the over on Louisville and bet it all for Louisville to win. They're going to have a big game against Georgia Tech tomorrow. But until then, bear down. Green Bay. Ooh, you got a couple games. We're coming for that ass, baby. We are coming for that ass. I don't know if I just said something really gross or really intimidating. Jordan Love, if you ever watch this, hope you're intimidated. Grr. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys again very soon. Claws up, bear down, and we'll see you again. You know what I said.